Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Adventures in Arcane Space. Once again, I am your Dungeon Master, AuldDragon, and the players are...
Hello, I'm David Big Mac Shepherd. I play Braxon Miacc, who's a human fighter from an asteroid near Brow, and the captain.
Hi, I'm Dagami-sama and I play Solas Ebha, who is Half-Elven Cleric Mage of Ogma.
Hey, I'm James. I play Ockar, human paladin from Brawl.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sealan Mortar. I play Finnel'ar Mohani, a druid from Grey Space.
Hi, I'm Levalithana, an elf and wild mage.
Hey there, I am Zaka. I'm currently playing the character as Darrow Strongarm, the best quartermaster no one has ever heard of from Brawl. And I'm not really certain for him also, actually, on him. I'm still deciding. I'll leave that one for now.
So, we left off last time. The party was just landing on the world of Kislev in Kryn Space. And as you were setting down in the landing field in your flitter, you see a woman striding towards you from the edge of the clearings. The clearings are pretty large. She obviously saw you coming down. She has long black hair. She's wearing an eastern robe, and she does have a sword strapped at her belt, an eastern-style sword. As she gets close to you, as you're securing your vessel, she calls out, "Welcome to Kislev. I am Mei Ling."
Greetings, I'm Solas Ebha, member of the Seekers, and we've heard that this planet has quite a lot of things to discover.
She gets up to you close, and you can see that she's a middle-aged human. Definitely reminds you of the Shao people back on Brawl and Shao Town. And she nods to you, Solas. "Indeed, there are many interesting things to find here. Are you looking for anything in particular? I can help direct you if you wish. I have many stores, especially if you have interest in trading some livestock."
Well, we are interested in quite varied things, but primarily I'm interested in the potential of finding some good rare herbs in here that have potent medicinal purposes.
Well, I can definitely direct you to many of the locations where such things grow. I have some of the more easily obtainable and common items around here on hand. But if you're looking for the rarest of the rare, you would probably be wanting to go to Kislev's Hand. It's a collection of canyons some days to the north of here.
That sounds quite interesting. Could you tell us more about these canyons?
Indeed, there are canyons elsewhere on the planet, but those canyons are by far the deepest. It is a series of 5 canyons, and the rarest of the rare ferns and herbs grow in them. If you're interested in the rarest medicinal plants, that is where you would want to go.
Interesting. What about other herbs around this planet?
Well, some of them are useful for cooking. Uh, Most of them grow in various places. There are some that only grow in the mountains or in the hills. The poles have their own things, but most of them are found throughout the planet in general, with the exception of those that are only found in Kislev's Hand.
I see. What about any exotic rare animals?
Oh, there are some of those, but there are nowhere near as many of those as there are plants and herbs. Are you looking for
I
anything in
see.
particular?
Anything that is something that I can basically introduce as new to my colleagues back in the Seekers library.
Well, I could tell you
So it's
something about some of the more common ones. She kind of goes through some of the local flora that you can find in the immediate vicinity. Um,
uh, one question. We've heard that there are dragons on this planet. Are they a big danger if we go on excursions with our flitter?
oh, very much so. You do need to be very careful about them. Um, their territories are ever shifting as they compete with each other. But if you're careful, you can oftentimes avoid them. Um, they have large territories and they can't watch over the whole thing. Um, if you want to be extra careful, you could risk going down during a storm, but that would have its own dangers.
Yes, flying in storm is quite risky in itself.
Yeah, as you were coming
Uh,
down, you could see that this planet is definitely like it's not just a rainforest world; it's a stormy rainforest world.
yeah,
It's
uh,
clear where you are right now, and there are
yeah,
patches of uh, clear cloud cover, but a lot of this is storms are ever present. There's basically every day storms come through, or at least rains
yeah.
do.
Uh, we have this guidebook that has bit of this sphere that has bit about this planet, but if you could fill in more about the dangers of this planet, we would be quite appreciative of it.
Oh, indeed. I have heard of that guidebook. It is reasonable, if not oftentimes out of date.
Hmm.
There are a wide variety of creatures. The most common of the intelligent creatures, besides the dragons that you'd want to be careful of, are the giants. Some are friendly, others are not, and it can be difficult to tell the difference until you actually make contact with them, however.
Uh, what kind of dragons, by the way, are they mostly green or other chromatic?
There are greens and blacks primarily.
Okay, so anything to protect against those would be good.
It's
Uh,
a simple question of whether you can avoid their notice primarily.
yes, of course, but uh, you it doesn't hurt to be prepared if you do get their notice. Does this planet have ruins of previous settlements uh, or how should I say, anyone trying to colonize this planet?
She gives a laugh at that. No, no such thing. There are no civilizations here besides the giants, and they are not wont to build great cities.
Yes, I've understood that about them. So, unfortunately, I can't uh, I can't dabble in that part of my passions.
But
History is
some of the
his,
giants would be willing to act as guides if you are interested in that.
that would be very useful, actually. Uh, do you have contacts to these giants yourself?
No, they don't live around here, the friendly ones at least. I can. I'd be more than happy to give you some more information if you'd be interested in staying at my camp for the evening.
That sounds quite good. We can learn so much from someone who has stayed at this planet so long.
Well then, let me show you the way. She looks up at the sky and says, "You might want to cover your vessel. I imagine that a rainstorm will be moving in within the next few hours."
Thank you for the notice. I'm certain my good fellow, the ship captain Braxon here knows how to protect our vessel.
Braxon's going to nod and let him carry on talking.
Well, she's gonna at this point she's gonna give you space to prepare your vessel and step away and wait, assuming that
Is she
she's
referring to-
basically assuming that all of you would be working together to do that.
Is she referring to her flitter or the battle dog?
Your flitter, that's what you took down.
Well, I thought we landed it.
Yeah, you did land it.
Yeah, but Sakar Battle Dolphin is in the space.
Oh, so we got the ship on the ground we need to secure somewhere or something.
Basically protect from coming rain. So it doesn't fill with water and such.
Turn it upside down.
Well, depending on what kind of winds these storms here have.
Yeah, I guess we tie it down.
Yeah, I think the party would work on it as a whole.
That also.
Would we have some sort of kit that comes with the flitter ord?
You might. Is there anything else that I mean, there's going to be ropes in there, certainly.
Would there be tarp and such to cover the flitter basically so that it doesn't fill with water?
I don't know. Do you think that you would have put one in there?
Well, what does the flitter actually look like? Is it like a World War One biplane with holes in where you sit, or do you ride on the back of it like a banana boat?
No, it's like a large rowboat, like a lifeboat. You know.
Right.
It can hold up to 10 people in close quarters. So, I mean, it's long and narrow, but you can definitely get 10 people in, like on benches inside.
Yeah, I would think it would have some kind of tarp or something to protect it, since that's, at least from my knowledge, is quite common on lifeboats and such.
All right, Braxon, give me a D20.
Oh, if I roll wrong, he's going to say we
You'll
don't
never
have one.
know.
Yeah, and it would help if I didn't roll into it.
Hey, as Braxton's doing that, are you trying to
You got a tarp.
camouflage it near a tree or anything?
It's a
We are
wide
in
open
the
field right
clearing.
now.
Yeah.
Alright, so. What?
It's basically a field that is meant for ships to land.
Alright, let's just see if it's stormy. We don't want no dead man's widow on our poor ship.
Well, there's two things about.
It does regenerate as well, slightly.
Yeah, slightly. There's two things about whether it's under trees and stuff. Is if a tree falls on it, it'd squash it, and if it's in the open, it might get blown away by winds. So
But if we tie it to the ground, basically with
yeah,
it should stay on the ground.
so we basically treat it like a tent.
Somewhat, yes.
Do the wings fold up or anything, Ald?
No.
Right.
Oh, they're going to catch wind.
We might be able to set the wings so that they don't create as much lift. I'm presuming there's some sort of control that the helmsman would use for altering the wings or something. It's not really documented, is it? Sorry.
No, it's not, but it's I mean the vessel does have a rudder.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of it. It's a bit more complex than just a simple rudder, but it's mainly the rudder and when you're on the helm, the nature of the vessel allows slight changes in the wing shape and direction, and that helps maneuverability.
I think one thing we might also do is basically if the lady said from which direction the rain and possibly wind is coming, we might also turn the flitter such a way that it doesn't catch as much wind.
Is this like completely open? There's no like dips or.
Yeah, it's a flat field, completely open, just covered in grass.
Do we have the equivalent of
Can
stakes on the ship, or
Yes.
should I have to?
Yes, you would.
Can Braxon make an intelligence check to see if you notice any weather on the way down?
It's normally Finnel'ar's.
Do you have weather sense? Does anyone have weather sense?
No. Braxon doesn't have any sort of sense.
Wait,
Not
what?
even common ones.
Does anyone have the
What
weather
weapon
sense? The weather sense proficiency. Does anyone have that?
Oh, no.
Okay. Give me a second. Let me check something.
Usually wisdom for like any kind of survival thing, I think.
Oh, right. Well, no chance then.
Oh yeah, the guy who lost wisdom.
The
So,
guy.
have you been asking Patas
No.
for a favor?
The guy who used wisdom as dump stat.
Who had a backstory of being a priest or wants to be.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any other proficiencies that they might think would be relevant?
Doesn't. This is a bit of a stretch, but doesn't
Engineering
have survival?
I have forest survival,
Hmm.
hunting, direction sense.
Oh yeah, Braxton's got. What's he got?
Direction sense might be useful.
Wouldn't forest survival
I don't
go?
think any of my proficiencies will help. Sorry.
Could I
Sorry,
fashion some
hold on. What were you saying, Leva?
Wouldn't forest survival count in the jungle as well?
I would probably put a penalty on it. It's similar, but not exact. Go ahead and give me a survival check there, Finn.
Braxton's got wild space survival, but that's probably.
You do? Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that is good enough. Finn, you're not entirely sure, but just being in a fairly natural environment, even though you can tell that this is clearly like the trees have been artificially cleared. This field has been artificially cleared, I should say. But still, you're close enough to a wild natural environment that you can give some tips on helping them, secure the vessel. Make an estimate on what direction the storm or the rain might come.
It sounds silly.
Mhm.
There's no equivalent of like an anchor, so.
There
I
are
know
anchors. There are equivalents of anchors, but I don't know that your flitter.
I don't think a
one.
flitter would,
No.
have one. Whereas the shuttle might.
Your shuttle absolutely has an anchor.
We could get an anchor for our flitter.
I was actually wondering if Braxton remembered seeing any bad weather on the way down.
Yes, but you couldn't tell what direction it was going and stuff like that.
Okay.
Is Mailing still about?
She's about. She's just not. She's giving you
basically
space. She's giving you space to secure your vessel. I mean, if you want to ask her something, you can definitely do so.
Inquired to see how long the storms typically last when they do last.
Oh, usually 4 or 5 hours, give or take.
Wow, that's not too bad. Multiple times a day.
It's past afternoon.
Could I use engineering to fashion some kind of anchoring for the flitter?
Not unless you have resources to do it with. I mean, keep in mind that the an anchor would take up quite a bit of the cargo space on the flitter.
I mean,
What about a giant log tied with ropes way down?
You're not right next to the forest.
well, I think the staking stakes to the ground and tying ropes have to do then.
For storm though.
Well, she said rainstorm. It's not.
Not lightning storm or
You would you would take that to mean moderate winds at most.
The Flesh is like a 1-ton ship, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tiny.
It is, but it's also not. I mean, if you're tying it down and everything like that, I mean, these things are designed to handle. Not necessarily the most extremes, but it's designed to handle reasonable stuff.
Well, I think we have to trust what we can do and leave it at that.
All right, so you've tied it down, put a tarp over it.
Yeah.
Okay.
From the top, but
Mhm.
done what we can.
All right. So Mei Ling notices that you appear to be finished with your preparations and says, "Are you all finished?"
Yes, I think so.
Well, then follow me. I'll take you to my camp.
Lead the way.
So
Thank you.
she guides you through the field, and you're kind of noticing now that the field is. You'd noticed it from the air, but the field is divided up into about 6 kind of landing spots of various sizes, separated by little mounds of earth, raised mounds of earth. You could see that as you were coming down. And you're following kind of a path along along the middle of it. And she says, as you're walking, I don't always get that many, but I figured it was better to maintain a larger field than absolutely necessary, just in case. There have been times when I've had even 4 vessels at a time here.
Yes, it's always better to be prepared than to be sorry about it later.
Indeed, indeed. I don't suppose you didn't say anything about having livestock, so would I be right in assuming that that is not something that you will be trading?
Unfortunately, we don't have, but if it's something that you require quite in the recent future, we might be able to organize something.
And she kind of gives a wave. Someone will be by soon. There are some regular visitors from Hidukal that trade me livestock fairly regularly. One of them will be by undoubtedly within a month or so.
That's good.
It has been my long dream to try to get actual herds grazing here, but that's not been terribly successful. It is rather hostile land for that sort of thing.
I'd imagine the local fauna don't take, well, they see cattle or like livestock as easy prey.
Oh yes, yes, they definitely do cause me problems, but I have some magic of my own that has been done to keep many of them at bay. But I think that I'm beginning to wonder if it's just not possible for livestock to thrive here. But I endeavor to keep trying until I succeed.
That is interesting. interesting thing to ponder if it would be possible. I can see many benefits if it was possible.
Maybe we should find out what livestock you've tried if certain things won't take.
Oh, indeed. If you have some suggestions, I might be interested in learning about some other creatures if you know of any others. You do not appear to be natives to Kryn space like myself.
No, we're quite new.
No, we are from out of sphere.
Uh,
No, I'm just thinking if you've tried certain creatures and we bring you more, they probably won't be successful.
has Lafdul heard of Ruth or Roth?
Yeah, you have. You've
So
never seen one.
Lafdul will inquire about whether or not you've tried one of them.
No, I have heard of them back from
They're quite hardy.
my previous
They're
travels.
mainly underground.
I have been hoping someone would come along with some of those, but I don't know that they're native to this crystal sphere.
No, you might have to import them from realm space. It's one of the places I know you can get them.
That'll probably make the price a bit high.
Yes, that is a worry, but I
What-
do
what
a fair trade of herbs, and I have a small bit of money that I might be using for that. Would that be something that you find folks would be interested in bringing my way?
Unfortunately, we are not heading to realm space anytime soon. But if we do come by them in somewhere in our in near future travels, we will definitely remember this.
Braxon says to her, "Do you know of any planets in the rest of the sphere that have areas with a similar climate? Maybe we just need to find a similar.
The gatherers
Climate.
might be able to help her out.
Yeah, maybe we just need to find a similar climate to find the right sort of herd animal."
There's no other planets that I'm aware of that are quite like Kislev here. It is possible. I have had many dealings with the gatherers on occasion, but they're more interested in trading exotic animals rather than livestock, even exotic livestock.
Yes.
And they don't
It
go out of
sounds-
sphere, unfortunately.
It sounds like you just need to find the right thing that will adapt to this climate.
What kind of livestock have you tried so far?
She runs through kind of the usual ones that you'd expect: pigs, various sheep and goats and cows.
Very mundane ones, I guess.
Chicken.
Mentions various breeds. She would say that she is not particularly interested in chickens.
Or any bird?
Yeah, the
Any
fowl
poultry?
fowl is just not her thing. You get the impression. You've now entered the forest, and you're following a trail, but you realize that without her kind of pointing it out, you're not sure that you would have found it.
Would we?
Finn might have been able to, but the rest of you probably would not have been able to.
Would we have left our helmsman with the flitter by
No.
his lonesome, or would we
No.
have taken him with us?
He would be
I
with you.
think, I think we would not have left him here to be in the rain and storm.
And I mean, you could alternately decide to send him back up to the ship if you want,
That's another option.
but that's
That
up to
is
you.
another option.
Our ship is entirely undefended. That's what I'm worried about. Even one person makes a difference.
Well, if you send him up on his own, he's undefended.
Yeah, well, what's more valuable, our crewmate or a ship?
I mean, if the ship got attacked when he's going up there while he's alone, it
Yeah.
might lead to loss of both. So
How long have we got before the storm hits?
Are you going to ask Mei Ling that?
Yeah, I might as well.
Oh, I
none of
would
us-
say about 2 hours or so.
Thank you. I think we can get the ship into space within 2 hours.
Yeah, you definitely can. Only takes 40 minutes to get up there.
That means we've got about an hour, give or take, to do what we want. Then we need to make a decision.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
I mean, you kind of gave her the impression that you were staying overnight.
Yeah. At least Solas is very keen on learning anything that he can.
We should just take our
Even
chances.
so, I wouldn't want to leave the ship there overnight by
Why?
itself. Well, I don't know. Someone should just be there. I don't know. Gut feeling. Yes.
Well, we can camp near the ship.
I mean, worst case scenario, Lafdul will go by himself.
Again, we can camp near the ship if it eases your mind.
If the ship gets damaged in the storm, then Braxon would have to stick together some trees.
Well, we got levity contacts.
That's true.
We can
That's true.
organise the other helmsman to take down a crew on the shuttle.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So, after about 10 minutes walking through this very dense jungle and this path that you don't think you could have found on your own, you do find yourself at an especially large tree, which has a little bit of a porch set into its base, steps up to it, and a door. You can see some windows further up the trunk, and underneath the canopy, you can see some paddocks behind it. There are a scattered few herd animals in there right now, a couple goats and 3 cows. And Mei Ling says, "This is unfortunately all that is left of my my most recent attempts. They seem to get sick or wander off. It is difficult to maintain them, but I've been trying."
While it's not necessarily meant to be used on animals, could I use healing to try and figure out what is the cause of this cow sickness?
You'd have to go investigate, like go up to them, and do you want to ask her if you can go check them out?
Well, yeah, I could check out if I could figure out what bothers these cows. I have some training in the healing arts.
Oh, are you a veterinarian?
Not technically, but I think if there might be some symptoms that even I could notice with my training.
Finn will go have a look too.
And of course, I have with us our scout, who is also a druid.
She seems a bit reluctant, but finally does agree. She says, "Hi, I've had others take a look, and they have not been able to find anything of significance."
Well, it doesn't hurt to get them looked one more time. You never know if we might be lucky and find out what is causing this.
All right. Do you want to take a look at the cows or the goats first?
I think I will. I'd say the goats first.
All right. Finn, are you going to check out the goats too, or do you want to go take a look at the cows while he's looking at the goats?
We'll work we'll work as a team here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. let's see. Solas, give me a healing check at half your score. Finn, give me you have healing, or do you only have herbalism?
I only have herbalism.
Okay. Um,
That's a bit over the half.
yeah. Is healing wisdom or is it intelligence?
It's wisdom.
It's wisdom? Alright, give me a wisdom check then, Finn. There's going to be a bit of a penalty here, though.
All right. And I have an 18 wisdom.
Okay. Neither of you can find anything wrong with the goats.
Okay. Well, let's try with the cows.
Okay. So same checks for both of you.
That succeeds.
All right. Okay.
That definitely succeeds.
Yeah, Finn. These are completely healthy cows.
Okay.
And Solus agrees with you on that. Like, you
Completely
know, Finn, you know there's nothing wrong with these cows. You think there's nothing wrong with the goats, but that's more because you didn't find anything wrong.
Mm-hmm. I am going to cast Speak with Animals.
Okay.
And I will ask the cows what's been happening to them.
Is your druid a bit of a quack? He's mooing at them.
All right. So the cow is just kind of chewing on some grass, and there's hay there that you'd guess is that she purchases from traders. That the cow is also munching on. And what exactly are you asking?
So I hear that members of your herd have been dying. Can you tell me what's been happening to them?
They just... We wake up one morning and they're not here. I don't know what's happened to them. But the lady's very nice and keeps us fed. You have any other questions?
Could ask
Have
them
you
how
seen-
long they've been here.
Yeah, how long have you been here?
Oh, about 2 months now.
Have there been any strange noises or movements when no one else is around?
Yes, sometimes, but not much to worry about.
Why is that?
Oh, I don't know, really. I just feel very content here.
Oh, thank you for your time.
Do you have any good hay or grass or oats?
Not on me, but I can make sure to get you some.
Oh, that would be nice. The lady is very nice. She gives us lots of good food.
That's good to hear. I'll turn to Solus. Is there anything else that you think I should ask him
Have
after
you been?
relaying what I've learned?
Okay, because if you hadn't said that last part, I would have. I don't know what you've been talking with them. Have they felt normal during the time they have been here?
Okay, I'll ask him that.
Oh, every once in a while, someone gets sick. They vanish after that.
Okay, I'll relay that back to Solas then.
Okay. Well, I don't think I have anything else to ask from the cow.
Yeah, I don't think I do either.
I just tell Finn to relay the cow that basically bon appetit.
And I will.
Did you
Oh,
say
thank
something?
you.
Did you say something's making some of them sick?
Are you asking me?
Well, the
No, I'm asking.
Oh, okay.
I'm asking.
cow says that
Our
every
cowhand.
now and then someone gets sick and then they vanish.
I think the vanishing might be that when one of them gets sick, it's taken off the herd so that it doesn't spread the illness if...
Maybe.
More than likely.
Then they
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
come back. Then they would be returned.
I'll ask Mei Ling what happens to the sick cows.
Oh, when I notice one gets sick, I separate it from the herd. It
Are there
is. I suspect that there may be some biting insects that carry a disease. That is
Yeah,
my thought
uh,
right now, but I keep them away just in case the um, insects that do bite them then carry it to the others.
Say, Finn, could there be any poisonous herbs or anything grown in amongst the other things that the cows are eating?
It's possible.
But Mei Ling seems to have a quite good knowledge about herbs.
Yeah. I know.
Would it be possible? I asked Mei Ling that if she has tried to grow the cows on the clearing, or have she always kept them cattle in the...
Usually picking for the dragons.
Yeah, but it might be that the insects or whatever is making them sick might be in the under the trees.
Oh, I take them out to graze there regularly, but they. I would not want to keep them out there. That would be quite
Yeah,
dangerous for them.
yeah, that's unfortunately true.
Does it thunder around here at all?
Thunder?
Yeah, thunder and lightning.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you would have seen
Can
that
we
from the.
leave
You would have seen
our-
that from coming down one of the distant storms.
Isn't like how much, something like a foot off the ground, though, isn't it? I was thinking our flitters make it like a lightning rod.
Yeah, it's not really going to be a problem. I mean, even though there are, it's a clearing. There's still a ton of trees around the clearing that are upwards of 100 feet tall.
Yeah, lightning usually tends to strike the tallest things around.
I'll have a look around the cow pen and the goat pen for any plants that could be hazardous to the animals.
All right, give me an herbalism check. No, there is nothing poisonous. In fact, you would go so far as to say that um, the plants growing around the paddocks are something has been operating, like someone is taking care to ensure that only certain things are growing around there. Like you're seeing some things that would just kind of the cows would not want to eat. Those aren't there, kind of thing. Stuff that might give them just a little bit of indigestion, but they might eat anyway. That stuff's not growing around there. Basically, everything growing close by is stuff that is not going to be at all harmful to the animals.
Okay, well, doesn't hurt to rule that out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you'd say that this is it's unusually so in that someone has taken steps to ensure that this area is free from risky plants.
Well, then the most likely explanation might be what the mailing was suspecting, that there are some biting insects that carry some disease.
Any humans gotten mysteriously ill?
Well, no one stays here long enough for that to be noticed. If they have, then they may have gotten ill on their vessel after leaving, and I have not.
And you give them the same water that you yourself drink.
Oh yes, she points you to the well, which is right behind the large treehouse that you're kind of standing outside of right now. She says, I do appreciate the effort that you've put in, but it's something that I have been continuing to research myself. I don't expect someone who has just landed here to solve it in a matter of minutes.
Yes, I of course, but never hurts to have more than one point of view.
Indeed, indeed. Well,
So
would you like to come in and have an early dinner? I could. I was well known on my previous vessel as a fine cook. If you're hungry,
that sounds lovely.
I do have some rooms that you can stay in for the night as well, if you wish.
That would be very kind of you.
Braxon mutters, I wonder if an animal that's less domesticated would be more able to fight off the local diseases.
Are you
Something
saying
like
that loud enough for her to hear?
Yeah, maybe something like wild boar instead of pigs, and then you could try breeding that down to something more tame.
Hybridization.
It is definitely something that I have been considering, but those are quite a bit harder to come by than your standard domesticated varieties of animals.
Would you be interested if we happen to subdue while along our way?
We might need more than one, says Braxon, and winks.
Oh, if there was something around here on this planet, I think that I would have discovered it by now.
Been
No,
here long?
I meant on one of the other worlds.
Oh, certainly.
Maybe people are bringing you things that have been over domesticated, and this world isn't tame enough, and they're not resistant to whatever diseases are causing these cow illnesses.
I would certainly be willing to pay for such creatures if you come across them on your travels after leaving Kislev, and were to bring them back here.
Well, if opportunity happens, we will certainly consider it.
Well, would you like to come inside?
Why, thank you. I would be interested in seeing this quaint little tree house you have.
It's really not little.
Is she like the only person here? Is there like
Yeah.
no one else?
Yeah, as far as you can tell. I will note that this tree has a trunk that is at least 100 feet in diameter.
No.
Yeah.
Lafdul
Well-
seen bigger? Question mark.
You have, but it's still impressive to you. This is a large tree.
Yeah,
So Lafdul tries to compare this tree to the ones on Evermeet to leather. He
Oh,
makes
no.
small talk with leather.
We've come across the great Deku tree.
So Evermead is much more temperate than tropical, and this is clearly a tropical tree. So that's the biggest difference. But she leads you around to the front entrance. The door does not appear to be locked as she opens it, and you enter a foyer. There's a closet off to the side. She says, "If you ever arrive while it's raining, you can put your wet things in there. It is not necessary right now." And then she leads you into a long hallway that is clearly in the center of the tree. The floor is polished, and it is not made of boards. It is cut out of the trunk of the tree itself.
So hang on.
But polished
This
smooth, so
whole
you can
thing is-
see the rings.
This whole thing is one tree.
Yes.
Hmm.
Braxon's
in a
going
tree.
to be. Braxon's going to be fascinated by this.
The walls do have paneling put up and other decorations. It's very nice.
Is the tree still alive?
As far as you can tell. It had green leaves up on top.
So it hasn't been carved too much, basically near the bark.
I try to pull Solas slightly behind the rest of the group, and I matter something to him.
Braxon's going to
Wow.
ask her what sort of tree this is and whether she did this carving herself.
She tells you a tree name that you've never heard of before. She says they're fairly common around here. The giants especially build their houses in or within the boughs of them.
Braxon says, amazing. Do you know if the wood has any special properties?
It's fairly standard as these things go. Not as strong as oak, but it does a good job for what it does.
I'm always on the lookout for some sort of special wood that grows somewhere.
This isn't an oak, is it? What kind of tree is this? A sequoia or something?
No, it's a jungle tree of some kind.
Generic jungle tree? Or...
Yes.
We don't have
it's a
that
generic
kind of
specific
knowledge.
jungle tree.
Alright.
I don't
just
live in a
want to-
jungle. I don't know the trees that grow in jungle. I'm sorry.
Nor does any of the characters, so...
There's that, like, purple wood that begins with A. I forgot what it's called.
Someone will give you 100 bits if you name the tree.
Don't go promising
Don't
things.
promise things for other people. No one's gonna give me 100 bits for that, unless you're the one who's gonna give me 100 bits for that. If you're gonna give me 100 bits for naming it, that's fine. I'll go look it up. I'll look something up right now.
I'm just teasing you. If I can't get you to name the NPCs, I can get you to name the trees. Hopefully.
But Lafdul wanted to mutter something to Solas.
So
Yeah,
wait,
you-
does that
but
make does I'm confused. Does that make all the Lorax? Does he speak for the trees?
No. All right. So Lafdul, you've pulled Solus behind.
Yeah,
no, I
still
think you
the
look at him
walls.
with a great orange mustache.
But then you kind of nipped the question in the bud when you said it's not an oak.
Yeah, it's not an oak.
I was like, because Solus needs like amber from 100-year-old oak. I was like, oh. I was thinking of K-pop. That was the word I was thinking of.
There might be oaks on the planet.
Those would be on the poles, most likely. Considering the poles are more temperate. And most of the planet is jungles.
K-pop's a jungle tree.
I don't know what kind of tree that is offhand.
But Solas will comment about the treehouse that it's quite lovely and very, very ingenious for the environment.
Oh yes, and it is makes them more difficult to be spotted amongst all the other trees as well.
And
Indeed.
it must give a good protection from the local wildlife. And
Oh, definitely.
how hard was it to create this place?
Oh, I had some help, but it did take quite a long time to do it.
I can imagine carving out this whole area inside a living tree.
Oh, yes, yeah. I needed to keep it alive, otherwise it would be obvious and it would not have maintained its structure.
Yeah, if it was dead, it would lose the value it has quite quickly.
Okay, so this is a type of Caparona. That's what I'm going to go with. I have no idea exactly what type of trees those are. I just know they're big jungle trees. So there you go.
There you go, Big Mac.
Yeah, I wait your 100 bits. So yeah, the she says that she did have some help. She did hire some other people. Um, you're now in a central hallway, and you can tell that this is literally the center of the tree because the floor is polished smooth, um, not laid down with planks or anything like that. You can see the tree rings, and you can see the very center.
Cool.
Is it got like some kind of like you see polished smooth, but if the tree's still living, has it got like some kind of like seed or like amber or resin or something to make it smooth? Yes.
So in a living tree, the center of it is not really like it's not dead, but it doesn't actively grow. Like most of the life in
Yeah,
a tree is in the outer portion.
yeah. If you want to kill a tree, you don't need to cut it down. You just need to basically cut around the outer shell of the tree, basically about inch or two deep.
Yeah, strip off the bark.
Yeah, and that will kill a tree. If you take it from all around it, basically one strip is enough.
Yeah, and the windows up above that you only saw two, and you only saw the front door. Solas and Finn, as you were checking out the animals, you would have seen a rear door as well. But in the grand scheme of this enormous tree, those are tiny, tiny, holes in the trunk. Not enough to kill a tree this massive.
Nor really do that much damage to its growth abilities.
So you can see further on, there's a doorway leading at the end of the hall into another room, and there's a door on that's closed. You can see a passageway to some spiral stairs next to that, and closer to the doorway that you came in, there are two open doorways, one leading into what is clearly a dining room. There's a nice table laid out there, and a sitting room of some sort with some very comfortable chairs.
You mentioned that the local giants also make their homes in these kinds of trees.
Oh yes, more so up in the boughs, up in the canopy than down at ground level, but they do sometimes make their homes lower down as well.
That would mean that they are quite well camouflaged, their villages.
Oh yes, many of them can be very difficult to spot.
And with them being natives to this area, they know how to move and build their villages without disturbing too much of the natural balance of the area.
There is a reason why some of them get hired on as guides.
Yes, that's quite understandable now that we've actually seen bit inside the forest now.
Well, would you like to take a seat? I'd be happy to get some dinner going if you are interested.
That sounds quite lovely. I would be very interested in tasting what kind of tastes the local cuisine has.
So
Or
she guides
local
you.
ingredients.
She guides you into the sitting room. There's a fireplace there. Um, there isn't a fire right now. She says um, that it can get a little bit chilly at nights in the what passes as winter in this region. Um,
Oh,
but
there's seasons.
she does bring out some a plate of chilled, crisped leaves, kind of wrapped around what looks like a stick. But she says that these are an edible kind of branch some of the bushes around here have wrapped in what is kind of a lettuce-like leaf. Um, and she also has some kind of a mead type beverage. Solas, you would guess that it's not particularly alcoholic, but she pours that and says that it
Is
is
it
made.
homebrew?
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is made from some of the hives that are local.
Solas tastes it and says,
Critiques it.
well,
You're a
I bet
brewer,
it.
are you?
Yeah, I'm brewer. I bet it tastes good.
Yeah, it's quite good. It's a kind of a milder flavor than you're used to, and a bit fruity.
That must be because the local bees or from whatever she gets the honey basically gets most of their pollen that they need for the making honey from fruit trees.
She would also tell you that it has some additional fruit juice in it.
Yeah, that also. Uh,
Probably a
eh,
fruity yeast.
Basically, Solas drinks a bit of it and says, I guess I'm willing to bet that I could make a quite excellent mead with these ingredients that you have used for this.
Oh, indeed, it is very high quality honey, much better than what I was able to get back on Toril. And she leaves
Oh.
you with the. She's from Shaolong.
Mm.
She leaves you with the plate of snack leaves and twigs and a
Solas
pitcher
also
of the mead as well as cups to refill if you want. And she says, "It will take me about a half an hour. Feel free to just relax and wait."
Solas basically takes a cup of that mead and few leaves and sticks and goes to study how they have built the fireplace in a living tree,
The
munching
f-
those leaves and sticks.
the fireplace is built of stone, of course.
Yeah, but basically,
Got a vent
is
somewhere.
Yeah.
how yeah how near
It's a feat of engineering.
how near the basically the outer or the bark the fireplace is and such.
Give me an engineering check.
Don't forget we have fires on our wooden ships
I know.
without burning.
So from your investigation, you'd guess that the flue is lined with probably clay piping. You're pretty sure this goes to a fireplace up above as well. Connects up with the flue from that one, and then goes off the out the side. So again, just a small opening through the bark.
Yeah. Most likely it has the upper floor's fireplace on the same, since it's better to build basically them on the same system than two separate systems.
Sounds like a back door into another room. If the fire is out.
Is
Small enough.
it big enough that?
No, it's not big enough for someone to.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
it's
if
big
the
enough.
person
Like
was
if you were
strong.
to crawl down, if there was a doorway in the back of it, yeah, then you could get down. Pull your shoulders in tight. You could crawl through it, but that'd be extremely tight. It's not a gigantic fireplace.
Well, Lafdul can shrink himself if he wants.
That's true.
But mostly Solas was interested in the construction, since he was interested in how they basically make fireplace work in a living tree. Since he has never been in a living tree like this.
So is anyone else partaking in the snack foods and the drink?
I'm fine.
How much does it remind me of home?
The mead has kind of a touch of elven flavor to it.
It's more of a. I suppose now that you said I would taste them some, I guess I have.
You would guess that she may have gotten
Inspiration.
Yeah, inspiration from elven beverages or elven preparation methods.
I guess Braxon will have a little bit of mead. What was the snacks again?
So it's like a twig wrapped in a leaf, and it's chilled.
Is the twig itself edible?
Yeah,
Is
the
it
twig
just
is
leaves?
edible. The twig is edible.
How do they taste?
Um,
Yeah, I guess
the
I
the
would.
the leaf tastes like like really crisp, cool lettuce. The twig itself is starchy and almost potato-like, but it has a crunch to it, kind of a salty flavor. If and it's up to you whether you would like that kind of thing.
Solas thinks they are quite good and says so.
Yeah, Lafdul would as well, because it's not meat for a change, and Lafdul doesn't get to have non-meat stuff
Braxon.
too often.
I mean,
Braxon.
a lot of the stuff on the
Braxon.
ship is non-meat, but go ahead,
Wow.
Braxon.
Braxon's going to try one, but first he's going to sort of like dissect it, because it's a tree you can eat.
Yeah,
You would
maybe,
say it's more
but-
like probably from a bush.
Right.
if you've
Good would
never
have some too.
eaten cattail stalks before, because you can eat them. It's not that nicest thing in the world, but like hearts of palm and stuff, are all different inner tree stuff.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's pretty different from anything else that you've had before, in terms of what it actually is. But yeah, go ahead.
Braxon's wondering if you could like carve this and make carved food. So he's going to have a good look at it. He'll eat it in the end, but he's going to dissect it.
It's probably not thick enough for that. It's only about the thickness of your little finger.
So Solas basically says that these sticks are somewhat similar to some edible roots that he knows.
Does it look like it's been processed, cooked, or something?
Only chilled.
Only chilled.
But you would guess that this was broken off fresh. It's not something that was like harvested from the ground.
I wonder how long the trees, what the sticks remain edible for, because I'd assume they would last a reasonable amount of time. Being, well, tree sticks.
Bush.
Braxon says, do you think we could get some of these and grow them on our asteroid?
Well, I'm certain that she could tell us about this.
Finn, you would probably recognize that these are probably essentially a rainforest plant, so it would need a lot of water.
Okay.
We'd have to cultivate our asteroid to have a stream of water that circulates, I guess. Oh,
Basically, these would only grow if we would grow them really close to the water.
I'm trying to think, how much did I spend on that plant that smells like bread? Was it like 400 steel or something like that?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
If you didn't write it down, I didn't write it down. I mean, I definitely didn't write it down.
I was thinking about offering that as a gift, but it's on the ship anyway.
So after about half an hour, the smells of cooking are kind of wafting in, and she comes in to announce that the early supper is ready. As far as you can tell, like, she does not look like she has been cooking. In that, like, there's no flour on her, there's no grease splatters, nothing like that. And she's in the same clothing that she was before. She has put up her sword somewhere, you're not sure where. So she's not bearing that right now. But she does invite you to, cross the hall to the dining room and have a seat.
Maybe she's got magic that cleans up her appearance. Lafdul's got such a spell. That I've taught the other two clerics in the group, I think.
And she has most likely apron and such.
Yeah.
But Solas will follow her.
All right.
Yeah, so Lafdul.
And comment how tasty those snacks were.
Yeah, Lafdul.
Quite delicious.
Yeah.
I'm
Unique
very glad
cuisine.
that you enjoyed them. They can be found about an hour's walk from here, as well as just throughout the jungle, of course.
Are they like little bushels, or are they part of a tree? Do you snap them off? Or
They're
I make
a
small talk.
bush, and you do have to snap off the branches. If you just gather ones that have already broken off, they lose quite a bit of their edibility. If you wish to preserve them, then the best way is to brine them.
What about the leaves? Were those leaves from the same plant or?
Oh, no. The leaves are from a completely different plant. You do not want to eat the leaves of this bush.
Is that what we got? A slightly salty taste from the tree sticks,
From the bush.
brine.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they're actually naturally that way. They grow in saltier, marshy land. So she's directed you to the table. You take the seat, and there's the first course laid out before you, and what it is a bowl of soup for each of you, and it's a vegetable soup of some kind, kind of a yellowy broth. The color is like chicken broth, but you're not smelling like a chicken flavor from it. It smells a little bit more like maybe a potato soup type thing. But there's some roots and cut up vegetables in there, as well as herbs and spices.
Solas inquires about the ingredients and what kind of plants they come from.
Oh, do taste it first.
Yes, of course.
Little laugh will be like to Leva that you want to learn how to make this.
Solas takes
Being
a
a local cook.
taste of it, and you said that it's basically some kind of vegetable soup.
Yeah, kind of like a potato soup, but a little bit like the broth is a bit thinner. The vegetables are a bit sweeter, but overall it's pretty good.
I quite like this. I would be interested in learning the ingredients, so if I ever come across them during our jungle excursions, we might be able to harvest them.
She gives a quick description of the plants and how you can recognize them. Finn, they're definitely similar. You'd guess that some of them are similar, like the root plants. Seems like a type of carrot to you, but with a bit starchier consistency.
Okay.
Most of the other plants are a little bit more unusual from your experience, however. But you would probably be quite interested in learning about these plants.
Yeah, so I'll listen in when she's describing them.
Right. After that, she turns to you, Solas, and says, she kind of looks at all of you actually and says, now, please, tell me a little bit about yourselves. What have you come to Kislev for exactly?
Well, like I said, we came here to find some interesting rare medicinal plants and possibly rare exotic animals that might have their uses in things like spell components and such.
And
We should
do you plan to take some of these back to your home sphere, which is where again?
We're
save your
from
crowd.
we're from Bralasphere.
Oh, are you all from Brawl Space?
Well, I'm not from there originally, but I'm currently residing there.
Oh, do tell me about the sphere that you are from.
I'm
You do not look like an. You do not sound like you're from Realm Space. At least none of the people that I've met from there.
no, I'm from Tyr Space. It's a bit farther away. It's
Oh,
a it's a lovely place, and I come from a merchant republic there that is how should I say quite a lovely place.
I have heard of Tier Space, but I don't believe I've ever met anyone from there. Do tell me a little bit about your lands and your culture.
Well, we live in a coastal area near, and it's a temperate zone near the large ocean of the planet. And basically, Sola spends some time telling about his homelands and culture.
She is listening intently, and periodically asking questions, getting clarification on something, and seems very curious to learn about your people. As you kind of finish up, she then looks around and looks at you, Braxon, and says, "And you? Are you also from Tier Space?"
No, I'm from a unimportant asteroid near the Rock of Brow.
Unimportant?
Yeah, met these lot after getting some work with the Seekers.
Why do you say that it is unimportant?
Because it's a farming asteroid.
Well, I mean, you see what I'm trying to do here.
Oh yes, yes, vital to the way of working. I mean, unimportant to high up people.
Ah, yes. What was life like on that asteroid?
Mm, pretty good, pretty good. Then I decided to make my fortune and move to Brow. Spent a bit of time learning how to helping out, learning how to make ships and stuff.
Now, your asteroid, was it large, small? How many people lived there? I have not been to Brawl Space myself, so I'm quite curious about uh, learning about
Not
the
too many
places
people
and
there.
people there.
Few villages. One sort of semi-port town. Not really port with any facilities for making anything. More sort of a place for people to land and take off.
And she kind of continues to inquire about the people and of your asteroid, trying to
Yeah.
get learn about yourself and the what life was like there and stuff like that.
Yeah. Braxon will ask her a few questions as well. Like, he'll say he's never been to Shaolong and ask her what it's like.
Yeah, Solas also asks some similar, basically trying to find out what kind of person she is.
I'm
Uh,
not going to say it, but I'm going to keep a mental track of how accurate it is, because I'm from Toril, but I've probably never been myself, so what I say is
no, and you
probably...
would not know much about Shaolong. In fact, like you wouldn't have known hardly anything about Shaolong at all until you got into space and started learning about it. I'd say
Yeah.
most of what you have learned about Shaolong has been just interacting with people in Shaotown on Brawl. Um, she describes the large land of Shaolong and the peoples and the great cities and vast fields of rice and other crops that are grown in between the cities along the rivers.
Braxon will nod.
At about that point, looks like everyone has finished up their soup, unless anyone in particular is not eating their soup.
I guess I'll eat mine.
That means you got to take your helmet off.
Yeah, I'll be taking off my helmet, I guess. Do I notice they're reacting anyway?
Nope.
Braxon will eat soup carefully.
Hmm.
All right. So
Um,
she
trying to think of something. I can't think of what it was I want to ask now.
So,
she'll pick up the dishes and take them back into the kitchen. There's a separate small hallway that leads off the dining room.
Braxton's going to ask her if she's explored much of the planet we're on.
You will have to wait until she comes back with the main course.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
So she returns with plates of thinly sliced beef laid over a kind of a grain that has been steamed, kind of like rice preparation, but it's not quite rice. It's a little bit different. Um, and you'd guess that this is a wild grain of some kind as opposed to a domesticated grain. Um, and she lays that out and then brings out some various different kinds of sauces and like salt and pepper and things like that if you want to put that on your beef.
Solas tries a little bit everything.
All right. And
Yes.
after she lays out the food and takes her seat again. Yeah.
Is this beef part of the dead cows that have been disappearing?
I was just about getting ready to ask that as well.
Because now I'm being a little bit hesitant about eating the meat.
I mean, she takes a bite right away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know that, but
This is
Are you actually going to ask?
yeah, I suppose. Well, it's
Braxton-
not in an offensive. I'm trying to be as nice about it. I'm just saying, are you putting, I guess, them to good use, I suppose.
Oh
At
no,
least
this is one that was not sick, but I am raising them for food, of course.
Sorry, I didn't want to come across as offensive or anything at all.
No, I'm not serving that. Although that meat has been perfectly edible.
This is an interesting setup you've got here. I've had similar plans with another location back in Brawl Space.
Oh, are you also from Brawl Space?
Yes, I'm a cleric.
Ah,
I'm from the Brock of Brawl.
what deity do you worship, if you don't mind my asking?
Odin.
Ah, yes, I have heard of him. The one-eyed one, isn't he?
Yes, the
Hmm.
wise.
Yes, I do not know much of him. Just encountered some followers of his and another one, the Thunderer, I think they called him.
Thor.
Yes, yes, I think that is it. Um,
There's a I guess you could call it a planetoid of sorts called Green Shield. That's very much like this place, except it's entirely flat. Well, it's kind of like a flat disc of sorts, but it's completely covered in forest and lakes.
oh, is
And
that where
it's
you're
also
from?
no, I'm from the Rock of Brawl, but I was planning on building a place similar to what you've got here on Green Shield.
Ah,
No one's ever been able to successfully do it before, so I thought I'd give it a shot one day.
oh, that is interesting. What is this? What else is this world like? I have not been to it. I have seen flat worlds in my journeys, but I'm curious about what that one is like.
Well, I'll tell her some of the stuff that happened that I saw there, like the big cliffside where we fought that manticore, the big lake that had the dragon turtle in it, and how it also has chromatic dragons on it.
And giant bees.
Oh, and giant bees.
She is quite interested in all of that. At your mention of the giant bees, she says, "Yes, that is where I got the honey for the mead. Um, the bees that produce that are the size of your
That's
fist."
the same
Yeah.
honey we've got. Lafdul's probably got some of
Were,
that
were
honey.
the giant bees
Yeah,
which
the
hive we
same honey
visited,
we
were
got.
they the size of fist or?
Oh, those are bigger.
Solas mentions that these giant bees are quite a bit bigger.
Oh,
Yes, their hives were so big that we could walk inside them.
that is interesting. There may be such things around here. I have not encountered them. Um, the bees that I gather honey from are most certainly not quite that large.
Yes, my plan is to build a fortress of sorts and see where it can build out from there.
That is fascinating.
I just have to get the money for it.
So Braxon says to her, "Have you explored much of the planet before you set your base up here?"
Oh, it would be impossible to explore all of the planet, but I've been around. I've been to the poles. I've been certainly to Kislev's Hand. Um,
Are there any other large landmarks like Chislev's Hand, or the poles?
oh, there are volcanoes that are not particularly active, or just north of the equator. Um, she mentions a few mountain ranges, um, some hill formations, and stuff like that.
What about on the southern hemisphere?
Well, that's the thing. Some of that stuff is in the southern hemisphere
Okay.
too. It sounds like so. There's like a ring of volcanoes north of the equator, like along the equator, kind of thing.
Mhm.
And then there aren't a whole lot of mountains up until you get to the poles on the north side, northern hemisphere. Whereas there's a few mountain ranges on the southern hemisphere. And Kislev's Hand is to the north of the ring of volcanoes.
Mhm.
There any like ancient ruins or?
No, she said that there weren't any ruins. I asked that earlier.
Mm.
No, she'd reiterate that as far as she's been able to determine, as far as anyone else that she's aware of has been able to determine, there's never been, empires or kingdoms or advanced civilizations on Kislev.
Ord,
Mhm.
when you said mountains in the south, would they have been anywhere near the area we're interested in?
Quite possibly, yes.
All right. Braxon's going to ask if there's any interesting plants or animals on the mountains.
Oh, yes. The mountains tend to have a slightly different flora. It is generally the same as on the volcano, the slopes of the volcanoes as well. But the higher altitude does seem to alter what grows there, and she'll go over a couple different types of plants and some of the known uses that she's aware of for some of them.
Here's a question.
Mhm.
It's not to her or anything. It's more of a reiteration. Our tracking device, it pointed down to her encampment area.
It did not point to her encampment area, no.
It
It
pointed
pointed somewhere to the south,
yeah.
and we just landed north.
We basically came here to get the information about the place.
Yeah.
Before we go do any excursions into the area. Since she's been living here a quite long time, she can tell us lots of dangers that the planet has. And also she mentioned that she knows some friendly giants that might be willing to work as guides. Which reminds me, I will ask her about these giants that were willing to work as guides. That where might we encounter this?
Well, you can find them throughout the planet, but if you want the best chance, there was a giant who actually went off-world many years ago. I've had some contact with him myself. He has actually been declared a king amongst them when on his return.
And where might this giant live? And what is his name, or what is he called?
He is known as Sully Gatherer Clan. His home is in a village on the shores of one of the southern lakes. She gives a brief description from that. You think you could probably find it from orbit.
Okay.
And she says, they are quite friendly, insofar as being willing to offer services and trade for goods or cash that they can use to purchase other goods. They'd generally rather have worked goods if that is something that you have available to you.
Mm-hmm.
Understandable. What are the general customs so that we know how to visit them and not insult them anyway?
Oh, well, they're fairly laid back. The best way to handle it would be to not mix them up with the Bosk giants. They are very similar in appearance, but are most assuredly malicious in nature.
You say they look similar. Are they the same race? They're just a subspecies, or?
Oh, I
Subsalvage?
don't know. I don't know well enough, but they look similar enough that it can be difficult to tell them apart.
Is there no unique identifier? Anything that at all that might give us an edge?
Yeah, I'm double checking something.
Whether or not she knows, or there
Both.
Oh.
Yes, the Bosk giants tend to be a bit taller. They tend to be a bit more unkempt as well. But that is the main difference.
Well, that is something that would allow us to identify them once we get close enough.
I mean, a giant's a giant to us. We can't really tell a foot or more difference between them because they're so big.
Yeah, but if one's unkempt and the others basically keep
They
them
might
up.
just have bed hair.
So
I mean,
Hang on a minute.
if you go to the village, you won't have a problem because it's not a village of the other giants.
yeah,
We had a giant friend.
Yeah.
Well, we know how tall she was.
Yeah.
yeah, but
Oh,
these
snap,
these
it's
these are
different species.
these are two different species or a different species compared to her.
Mm-hmm.
And there were multiple different types of giants on that planet also where we
Well,
met her.
Braxon just needs to know if their kneecaps are above or below his nose.
So she then turns to you, Lafdul, and says, "Are you also from Brawl?"
I am, indeed. Just a native of Brawl, nothing too in particular.
Well, then do tell me
was-
about Brawl. I have heard much about it, but I have never been myself. I understand that there is a thriving community of Shao there, as well as others from the lands of Kozakura and beyond.
I can try to fill you in with. I know something of the shell, not too much. I will try to elaborate what I do know, I guess. There's no harm in that.
All right, are you in the? Uh, you're in the guise of what's his name again?
Going as Daryl Strongarm.
All right. So give me an intelligence check, please.
Well, I'm not stretching the truth.
Actually, give me a charisma check.
Wow, 15's my charisma.
All right. So yeah, I mean, you're not stretching the truth, but it's more of a question of whether you can accurately answer the questions that she will have. Since, you're not actually from Brawl.
No, but I've been there for a few years. And
Yeah. But she's like asking about, what the culture is like, what kinds of peoples are there, what it was like growing up there.
Yeah, what would be still hard to answer if you weren't actually from there.
But you do a pretty good job of spinning a convincing tale, you hope.
I assume the other players can chip in, as in Ockar, who actually lives on Brawl.
That's up to them.
Yeah. I mean,
Are you
I'll
just
be
gonna
chipping.
let me dig myself into a
I'm gonna
grave?
chip in some. When it looks like you're about to say something completely false, but otherwise, I'm just letting you do it to see how well you're going with it.
Solas has not been long enough in Brawl, so he doesn't chip in.
I'm like, if you're gonna say something that's completely 100% false, I'm like, actually, it's more like this. Maybe you're a bit asleep. Otherwise, it's gonna be more like, oh yeah, he knows what he's talking about. Isn't that right?
Well, you and Braxon can go between each other since you're both natives in a way.
Well,
Solas,
Braxon's not quite a native. He's been there quite a load of times.
You know more than me.
Yeah.
Solas will at some point just interject that the experiences that he has had with the Shatan restaurants have been good. They have quite good cuisine in there.
Oh, yes. It is difficult to get all of the ingredients that are used in cooking, but I've experimented quite a bit with what's available here. So about this point, you guys would probably be wrapping up with the main course unless anyone is choosing not to finish it.
No, I would eat it, I guess.
I'm good.
All right.
I'll finish.
Like I said earlier, Solas has experimented with all of the sauces.
Yep.
Braxon will eat the poisoned food.
The beef was quite tasty, well prepared, and good cut of meat, well marbled, that sort of thing. The grain is rice-like in its consistency, but the flavor's a bit different. It's actually a little fruity in flavor, but subtly so, not strong, and not sweet either. It's actually almost savory. Quite interesting. Quite interesting. I'll leave it up to you guys to decide whether that is something that your characters will like or not.
Solas is quite enjoying.
And the sauces, there is a soy sauce type thing as well as some marinades and stuff like that. And at that point, she says, "Now let's. Is anyone interested in dessert? I have baked a quite nice pie."
Oh, that sounds very lovely.
Sounds delightful.
Anyone not interested in the dessert?
Braxon would probably say he's quite full up.
All right. Okay, so she collects up.
He'll thank her.
She collects up the plates again, and moments later comes back out with a still warm pie with a flaky crust on top, a smattering of what you think is cinnamon on top, and starts slicing some pieces and dishing them up for anyone who is interested. The interior is kind of a golden fruit with a glaze. Looks like a cross between a pineapple and a pear in the fruit itself. And the taste is it's tangy, almost citrusy, but quite good and fairly sweet, but not super sweet.
Solas compliments the pie
Well, thank you.
and ask about the fruit in it.
Oh yes, it is a fruit that grows on the tops of some bushes nearby. She kind of describes it. It seems to grow kind of like a pineapple, but rather than like straight up the top, it kind of curls down to the side, making it easy to like just pull off.
Mm-hmm. So Solas will mention that ever since he first came into this space, he has had quite a lot of different tastes that have tastes in food that have been quite joyous, and this is one of the best pies I've tasted.
Oh, indeed, indeed. It is one of the joys of exploring the spheres, is it not? I got a little too old for such things, but that was always what I enjoyed the most, was the new sights and smells and sounds and tastes. And she looks to you, Finn, and says, "And how about you?"
Braxton's going to raise an eyebrow and say, "Too old? You don't look too old."
Oh yes, I've been around for almost 50 years now. It was time I settled down.
Mm-hmm.
And she looks back to you, Finn, and says, "How about you? What do you like about exploring the spheres? Are you also from Brawl Space?"
Not originally. I've traveled quite a bit. I'm originally from Ginsel in Gray Space.
Oh yes, I think I met someone from there once. I have not been myself. What is it like there?
I'll describe it to her.
All right. Oh, a crescent world. I have heard of that. I have not been on one, though. What is it? Have you been to the edge of that? And what's it like to transition between the two? you probably
Ah.
would not have been on the edge.
Yeah, so I'll just say no. I've never done that.
Okay. The edges of that planet tend to be where the monsters are located. And she kind of will, ask you some other questions about what uh, life was like, what life on that planet is like, what features in gray space have you seen, stuff like that. She'll be interested in the grinder and the different kinds of creatures and cultures that you've encountered. Is there anything in particular that you'd want to bring up?
No, nothing really particular.
All right. And after that, she then turns to you, Leva, and says, "What about you? Are you also from Brawl Space, or are you from one of the other spheres of your companions?"
Oh, I'm afraid I have no idea where I come from. I was sold as a baby,
Oh, that is
and
terrible.
so I grew up with my master. And personally, I have no idea where I actually come from.
That is terrible. W- What do you do you remember anything about where you come from?
Well, we are. I'm trying to find something about my history, about uh, where the person who actually bought me came from, and that's one of the reasons why I'm traveling so much, because I'm following his spoor, his path.
Hmm. Have you had much luck in that?
Not in the beginning, but lately I've found a few things. Yes.
In your travels, have you encountered any unusual peoples or cultures? I'm quite curious about how you grew up in that kind of situation.
Uh, so Leva tells her a bit about how she grew up and how she was taken in as the intermediary when her master didn't feel like meeting other people, that she was sent off to do that stuff.
Do the party learn anything about Leva that Leva's never told the party?
I don't know. Do you?
Yeah, that's why I'm
That's
wondering.
that would actually be up to you, Leva. Are you saying anything to Mei Ling that you haven't told the rest of the party members?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Um,
Um, I don't know if we ever decided like what planet you grew up on with Thoriax. Does that sound right?
just a sec. Just a second. There is something there.
It can't be
He
Phelps.
I was
no
to say you're from
he
Phelps, aren't you?
uh, no, we didn't.
Okay.
But he was all over the place because he had to leave because he was not quite. He was sort of into poison selling and stuff like that. That's not something that she would have told the others. But that's not something she would tell the Mei Ling either.
Okay. Fair enough. Um, so at some point we will need to figure out what planet you grew up on. Let's see. Let me
Oh,
see.
they lived in a small home in the outskirts of the mercantile outpost on Prime Space.
Prime space. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, so Mei Ling would say you were purchased and as an elf. Have you ever heard of the Talengran Empire?
Yes,
I don't
because
know much about them, but I do know that they are particularly heinous traders of elven slaves.
Mm-hmm. That's where that's where Thoriax actually bought me at. They kidnapped me as illicits, kidnapped me and brought me to the Talangran Empire, and Thoriax bought me there. So I was told because I was a baby. I don't remember anything.
Hmm. Well, yes, that is just what I've heard. If you're already aware of that, then I'm. Unfortunately, I don't know that I would have anything else to offer. I have
Man,
in my years, I did explore a number of spheres, but I have not been there myself.
well, if you heard about them, maybe you heard about. Well, but that was a long time ago. They said that I was a very unusual baby. I don't know why, but they did.
Hmm. Well, I do hope that you find some information out then.
Thank you.
Um,
So do I. Hmm?
for the past hour, it has also been raining. Um, Occasional flashes of lightning. The wind is blowing, but not strongly. Um, and it is now definitely dark outside. Um,
Goodbye, Flitter.
she will offer you a couple of rooms for the night if you desire. Otherwise, she can guide you back to your flitter, and you can risk taking off and flying back to your ship.
Solas would at least be interested in staying and getting as much details about this world as possible.
Braxton's going to take his lead from Solas.
What season is it currently? Smealing.
It's
Is this
summer.
winter season?
It's summer.
Sad face.
They might not have summer and winter in some parts of the
No, but
world.
when she mentioned winter earlier, that's the only reason I'm asking.
Weather is actually worse in winter across the board.
Yeah, well, what we were hoping was spring.
Oh, gotcha.
Since we have the spring rain part is the hardest part.
Yep.
We just gotta wait here for a season. Maybe spring then. Rains a
she
lot.
she will guide you. There's a leading off of this room. There's a spiral staircase that leads up and down down to the basement and up to the second floor.
After we'll try to inquire how long it takes for the season to pass.
Hold on a second.
How many cycles?
And does this planet have regular seasons?
It's probably going to be a quarter of a year.
It does have regular seasons. The seasons are about 113 days long. The year is 454 days.
How far through the current season are we?
It's about midsummer.
Oh, just a casual 300 or so days.
Yeah, it's a little bit. Just a little bit. So she leads you up to the second floor. The spiral staircase opens onto a long hallway. She points to a guest room for men, a guest room for women.
Leva gets her own room.
Leva, you're getting your own room. She does say that since she doesn't have anyone else staying here, if you want, you can choose who is staying where. There is a number of beds in each one.
We also have Sanfeyung with us.
That's true. You do. I think Sun Fayun would have been interjecting, especially when Ockar was bringing up worshiping gods. That's especially when Sun Fayun would have been jumping in. Mei Ling would have indicated essentially that she was not particularly religious, which disappointed Sun Fayun greatly because he was looking forward to some religious philosophical discussions.
We probably
Um,
would have.
Solas will cheer up Son of Ayung by having a short, very specific philosophical debate about something religion related.
yeah, it's never short with Sun Fayun. He does not know when to shut up when he gets off on one of these topics.
We probably would have briefed him on being careful about what he says.
Yeah, and he's careful about what he says, except about philosophical religious topics,
Yeah.
which has the
One does
advantage
not
of
censor the truth.
not really revealing anything generally of note with regards to what you guys are doing.
As long as
Or
he
He might
doesn't,
just
as long as he doesn't contradict the lie I told, that's fine.
You you didn't specifically tell lie. You told on the bit side of the truth.
The good news is if Sonfayon bores her and she stops listening to us, she doesn't ask us any more questions.
Actually,
And
Well,
off the hallway, there is also a bathing room with a single bathtub.
Solas is going to spend quite a lot of the evening asking questions about the planet and the wildlife and flora in there.
She will give you a number of descriptions, but she does say that she suggests waiting until morning to have any discussion about like specific dangers in specific places and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I will inquire about any sylvan creatures. Is there any such here?
Let's see. Give me just a second.
It's not something I do very often with Lafdul, but I should be trying to keep a mental note whenever I encounter like the equivalent of a sylvan glade. I should be doing something.
She would indicate that she is not aware of any such creatures. So she bids you good night, leaves you in those quarters, and descends down the spiral staircase.
Well, Solas is quite ready for a sleep after having such a hearty meal and a good conversation.
All right.
So if the rest of the party doesn't have anything important that they want to discuss or something like that, Solas will basically go freshen himself up and then go to bed.
All right.
She indicated that certain areas are off limits. Not that I'm going to violate that because I actually like the person, but
I mean, you've seen at least seen everything on the first and second floor. You have not been down in the basement. She didn't explicitly say not to go down there, but she also didn't take you down there.
yeah. No, it's just I actually wanted to go to like the top of the tree, but you know.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like if you were to do that, you'd have to either climb the outside of the tree or fly up there. There is not
Is the
a.
tree particularly hard to climb?
There are no low branches, so it would all be climbing up the bark itself.
Yeah.
And the bark is not all that rough. It's kind of a
Right, it's
smooth
just a
barked tree.
passing thought. I'm not going to do anything.
I mean, you're also better at climbing than others, but given the fact that it has smooth bark rather than
I
like
know, and it's raining as well,
Yeah.
which makes it even harder.
Yeah.
The cat is actually fly in a storm very well.
well, it's not storming. It's just
No, but I
blowing.
already have bad
Yeah.
flying. Maneuverability, that on top of.
All right. So is there anything that anyone wants to do before they go to sleep?
Braxon's gonna go and have a chat with Ebha.
All right.
And while he's chatting with her, he's gonna kick it on the foot, and then point at his eye and sort of pointing around with his fingers.
Leo looks at him and says, "You feeling okay?"
Yeah.
Use your magic eye to search.
Ah.
That wasn't what he meant, but
Oh, well, that's
Unfortunately, she didn't memorize it.
What did you
Also,
mean then?
also, if Braxon wants some secret kind of sign, it might be a good idea to tell about it to rest of the party beforehand.
When he pointed to his eye, I thought it meant Leva's magical floating eye that's invisible when you pointed around the room.
well, if she can't pick up on it,
But what you can do is detect is do a detect scrying.
Yeah,
Is that what you meant?
it might be. Yeah, he's trying to get the message across without talking.
Well, take a piece of paper and take a piece of some writing material and write it down.
Don't write it in Elvish. You can't read Elvish. Wait, can you read Elvish?
I can't read. Leo can't read Elvish.
Well, if Braxon writes it down on Elvish first, Solas can write it
I think
Old British then.
I think Braxon will point out some things in the room and then write with his finger on nothing.
Braxton's doodling like a child on the furniture again.
So
why don't you just say it, Braxon, or whisper it into my ears?
Does Lever actually say that? Does Lever actually say that out loud?
I'm not sure if you guys are close enough for that.
I assume
you mean?
Braxton. I assume Braxton has gone into the room that Leva is going to be staying in. Correct?
Yeah, I suppose he'll knock on the door.
Whisper sweet nothings into Leva's ear.
Okay.
Okay, if he can kick my foot, then he's close enough to whisper into my ears.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not the closest I meant, but okay.
So, what's going on?
So Braxton's gonna mouth the words to her to see if she can read his lips,
Yes, she can.
and he's gonna say, while saying other stuff, he's gonna say, "Do you think she is spying on us?"
Aha.
Actually, I'm going to need you to roll a read lips proficiency.
Because Braxton is saying other stuff also.
Yeah.
Yes, that really. How do you do that?
And especially since he's not actually saying it, he's mouthing it. There is a difference there.
I have just a minute. Read lips. Does it show that I'm looking straight into the sun? I'm slow with typing and making errors. Oh, here we go. Did it work? Did something happen?
I'm not seeing anything. Just /R 1d20
Yeah.
and compare it to the number. There we go. Okay, so the first one was a 5. I guess it was delayed. We'll take that.
Okay.
All right, so yeah, you're able to read Braxton mouthing some stuff.
So, I can read his lips. He's asking me whether Wailing is spying on us.
That's the role for whether she can read his lips. Unless that was your role being slow for me.
Well, Leva is sort of thinking that to herself.
Braxton to say a few more things and then get ready to go back to his room.
Leva sort of shrugs for the moment. And since she has memorized it, she casts a detect scrying.
All right. Okay, it is cast successfully. You are not you are not detecting any scrying attempts on you right now.
So Leva turns around to Braxon and says, I think she's genuine.
Sounds good. Right, Braxton head back to his room.
Okay.
After saying some stuff about what times you want to get up in the morning and all that sort of stuff.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and take our break now. When we come back in about 10 minutes, we'll find out what happens in the morning.
Yeah.
So we will be back shortly, everyone.